I found my grandfather's unsent love letters in the attic. They weren't addressed to my grandmother. They were addressed to a man named Robert who lives 2 miles away. Grandpa died, believing no one knew. 73 years of marriage, 4 children, 11 grandchildren, a life built on foundations I thought I understood. Cleaning out his house, I found the box hidden behind insulation in the attic crawl space. Letters bundled with ribbon, never mailed, never opened, written over 60 years. My dearest Robert, another anniversary passed. Another year of pretending. I hope wherever you are, you found what we couldn't have together. I sat in that dusty attic for 3 hours, reading my grandfather's secret heart. He'd loved Robert since 1956. They'd met during military service, had 3 months together before the world made continuing impossible. Grandpa married my grandmother 6 months later. Robert married someone too. Both built lives that looked like what was expected. But Grandpa kept writing. Birthday letters, holiday letters, letters about grandchildren Robert never met. A parallel correspondence to a relationship that officially ended, but emotionally never did. The final letter was dated 2 weeks before Grandpa died. Robert, if you're still alive, I want you to know I never stopped. Not for one day in 63 years. I hope you know. I hope somehow you've always known. Unsigned, unmailed. Like all the others, I couldn't let it stay that way. Finding Robert took 3 weeks. Military records, marriage announcements, obituary searches that thankfully came up empty. He lived 2 miles from my grandfather. Same town. 60 years of proximity without contact. I drove to his house without calling. Stood on his porch with a box of letters addressed to him that he'd never received. The man who answered was 91. Frail. Eyes that sharpened when I said my grandfather's name. Henry's grandson? He passed last month. I found these in his attic. Robert looked at the box. His hands trembled. He kept writing for 60 years. He never stopped. Robert invited me inside. His walls held the same hidden truth. A life built around an absence. A marriage to a woman he'd genuinely loved, but differently than he'd loved my grandfather. He read 3 letters before breaking down. I learned their story. 1956. A supply depot in Germany. 2 young men discovering themselves through each other. 3 months of stolen moments before reassignment separated them. They'd agreed to let go. Build normal lives. Survive an era that would have destroyed them otherwise. I thought he'd forgotten, Robert said. Moved on. Built something real with your grandmother. He did build something real. He also never forgot. Neither did I. We spent 4 hours together. He told me stories about my grandfather that no family history contained. The young man he'd been before obligation shaped him into the grandfather I'd known. Robert had his own box. Letters he'd written but never sent. Same ribbon. Same decades of parallel longing. I took them home. 2 boxes now. 60 years of conversation that never happened. My family reacted differently to the truth. My father couldn't process it. Said it changed nothing. Said it changed everything. My aunt cried. Said she'd always sensed something unreachable in Grandpa. Finally understood what she'd been sensing. My children asked why Grandpa couldn't just be himself. I told them about 1956. About the world that existed before their world became possible. Robert visits the grave now. Brings flowers every Sunday. Sits and talks to the headstone like they're finally having the conversation they couldn't have in public. I sit with him sometimes. Listen to him tell my grandfather about his week. Some love stories have happy endings. Some love stories survive, despite impossible circumstances. Grandpa's story was the second kind. Hidden, unsent, but never ended. Robert is 91. Won't have many more Sundays, but he'll spend them talking to my grandfather. Finishing conversations, 60 years in the waiting. Some secrets die with people. Some secrets ask to finally be known. I'm glad I found the box. Glad Grandpa's letters finally reached Robert. Glad the story didn't end unsent.